job. I get to work with incredibly dedicated educators, incredibly dedicated parents, and some of the best students that I've ever had the privilege of working with. It is an exciting day. Every day we come to school, it's a different day, but it really is a wonderful job. Just a little bit about charter schools. Charter schools are public schools. They are funded publicly by the state. There is no tuition to attend. There's no applications or a test that students have to take to get in. They are typically started by parents or educators who are looking for something that's different than the school districts that they're currently in. Our school was founded in 1995. It's one of the oldest charter schools in Massachusetts. We're celebrating our 24th year this year. By a group of parents who were looking for something different in their school. They were looking for an opportunity to be able to partner with the school in the education of their children. They were looking for a school that followed a classical education that incorporated arts and music and science and reading and math and technology all in one place. They were looking for a school where character education is embedded into the curriculum and part of what students do in every class every day. And they were looking for an opportunity for students to learn more about their community and how they can impact it, even at the age of 5 years old, all the way through 14 when they graduate from here. So in 1995, they founded the Benjamin Franklin Classical Charter Public School. Our mission is to assist parents in their role as the primary educators of their children by providing students with a classical education coupled with sound character development and opportunities for community service. Our mission is supported by these 4 distinct pillars, and it really is who makes us what we are. It is alive in our classrooms, in our hallways, in our interactions with parents, and the activities we do before and after school, and in our community, and it's something that we're hoping to talk to you a little bit more about today. It is what makes us different from other public schools. Today we'll have the opportunity to hear from some members of our community. I'll be talking to you a little bit about parents as primary educator and how we work in partnership with parents to be the best educators for their children. Character education, we have one of our 4th grade teachers, Megan Comden, who will be here to talk to you a little bit about what character education looks like in her classroom and how we celebrate character in our students. Classical education, we're joined today by Lorraine Loup, our 6th through 8th grade French teacher, who will talk to you about what classical education means at BFCCPS. And then we are very lucky to have Cynthia Garbowski, who's a member of our parent community organization, who will talk to you about community service. Parents as primary educator at BFCCPS means we value you as the first educator of your children. We value the partnership between school and home, and we find that that is the best way to educate children for when parents and educators work together. We want to include you in the education of your children. We want you to be a part of that. We encourage you to come into the classroom, to volunteer, to take part in some of the ways to educate children. We have parents that come in and talk about different things, different holidays that they celebrate. They talk about their jobs and the way that their education helped to encourage them to go into the field that they go into. We look for parents to come in and help with reading, to come in and help with math stations. So we really value the fact that parents are a valuable part of that education process. We have pillar nights here at school that give us an opportunity to talk to you about some of the things that are going on at school. If we're adopting a new reading curriculum or a new math curriculum, we'll have a parent pillar night where we'll talk about that curriculum and how you can understand it, how you can interact with it, how you can help students with it at home. We've had pillar nights on character education. We've had pillar nights on anxiety and working with students with anxiety. We've had pillar nights on food allergies and how to include children with food allergies in your house for playdates. If you have a student, if you have a child who has a friend who has a food allergy, how you can make that safe for them. We look to parents for ideas for pillar nights. If there's anything that you want to learn more about or anything that we feel like we can help with, we do that through our pillar night activities. Sometimes they're workshop based, so we have our reading specialist or our math specialist to provide workshops for parents on how to support reading at home and reading strategies or different ways to help students with math facts or math fluency. So we have a varying degree of different pillar nights that we have throughout the course of the year. We do have a series of ongoing take-home projects that start as early as kindergarten, where students are student of the week and they have an opportunity to be able to tell their class a little bit about themselves. They usually do a poster or some sort of presentation, and they come in and they talk about their families and what they do in their spare time, and so their classmates can get to know each other. All the way up to our science fair in 5th through 8th grade, where students are doing some of the work in school and some of the work at home. And then we present them in science fair opportunities for parents to come in and see what their students have done and what other students have done and what they've learned throughout that process. We have volunteer opportunities, as I talked about, not only coming into the classroom, but also serving on the PCO. Every parent is a member automatically of the PCO, so it's different activities that they do. They provide arts enrichment activities for our students. They provide different assemblies for them. They provide iPads for our classrooms. There's a wide variety of things that our PCO does to support us. We're very lucky to have them. But that's another opportunity for parents to be involved. And we also have our Board of Trustees, who is the governing body of our school. There's opportunities to participate on the Board of Trustees or on any one of their various committees. And then the Educational Foundation, which is a separate 501c3, which supports some of the functions of the school and is actually the one that's responsible for building our new building. And there's opportunities to participate in the foundation as well. And then the last thing that we have is the scope and sequence. That's a monthly document that goes home that says everything that we're doing in all of our classrooms. So you can see what your children will be learning the next month in reading, math, science, social studies, but also French, Latin, PE, art, music, library technology. So it gives you an opportunity to know what they're learning and an opportunity to talk about it at home. It gives character education links and community service opportunities as well. So that's another way for us to sort of communicate with parents what's going on at school and how you can help to support that at home. So next up we have character education. I'd like to welcome Megan Condon, one of our 4th grade teachers.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Megan Condon, and I'm a 4th grade teacher here at BFCCPS, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our character education program. So BFCCPS, as Mrs. Lanowski said, was founded on these pillars, and one of which is giving children a really solid character education as well as their curricular education. The 4 classical virtues that we talk about are justice, prudence, temperance, and fortitude. And the way that we teach that kind of varies throughout. So in kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade, students are really explicitly taught what are these virtues, what do they mean, and how can we practice them. So a kindergartner will be taught what justice is, what does it mean to be a good friend, how can we be a good friend to others, how can we be fair, and they'll put that into practice, and they'll practice that. As students get older, the character education is really woven into everyday curriculum. In 4th grade, for example, we have discussions about these different virtues in math, science, social studies, ELA, everything that we're doing. We're constantly talking about these different virtues and putting them into practice. So for example, when we're talking about, or when we're reading about the civil rights movement, we're talking about justice, we're talking about equality, and we're having these discussions. When we're reading about Martin Luther King, we're talking about temperance and how he had the self-control to protest without violence. When we're learning a new skill in math that's really challenging, we're talking about fortitude and what it means to really persevere when things get tough. So it's happening in every class, every day, all of the time. And the way that we really encourage students to put this into their own practice is through recognition. So every day, teachers are constantly recognizing students who are showing these virtues and showing good character, showing good citizenship to their classmates, who are being helpful, who are being kind, students who are really pushing themselves and persevering. And then also, in addition to our daily recognition, we give out different types of awards for specific character achievements. So in grades K through 4, students will receive what we call a leaf in the Forest of Virtue. And that's an award and an assemblies that you will get to come and see where a teacher will recognize your child for demonstrating one of these virtues. And it's really important because it really shows the students, the kids, that we value being a good person just as much as we value being good in math or being good in science. So that's a great opportunity for you to come and see and recognize this achievement that they've earned, in being a good, showing a virtue and showing good character. In grades 5 through 8, they have character and action awards, which are similar, where they're being recognized. They also send teachers and faculty and staff will send them postcards, because, in grades 5 through 8, they may not come home and tell you, oh, I got this award today. But they'll send home a postcard to you that you'll get in the mail saying, we saw that your child did this today, and it really stood out to us and showed that they were demonstrating, prudence or fortitude or whatever it may be. Students who, is it K 5 through 8? 6 through 8, thank you. Students in grades 6 through 8 who show all 4 virtues, who get recognized for prudence, fortitude, justice, and temperance, will then receive a medal, the Benjamin Franklin Medal of Virtue. So again, just really driving home the fact that we value all of these character traits just as much as we value their education. We really try to strive to educate the whole child, and part of that is teaching and modeling these behaviors as well. We also encourage students, there's a lot of opportunities, we'll talk a little bit more about these I think going forward, but for students, because we're a K-8 model, there's a lot of opportunities for older students to help with the younger students, for the younger students to look up to the older students, and that also really helps us in achieving this idea of leading by example and showing good character. And then last but not least, I just wanted to say that I have worked here for, I've taught here for about 6 years now, and one of the main reasons that I chose to teach here was because of this idea of character education. It's not something that you see everywhere else. And I felt like it really stuck to my values of what I want to see in the future generations. And it also, as a parent now, was one of the main reasons that I chose to send my son here. And I hope that you also consider this. It is a special thing and it's truly unique. And I think you'll see as you hear from some of our older students and our alumni that it truly shapes who they become, and it creates students who are not solely worried about their test grades and their next score and where they're going to go to high school or college, but really value this idea of being a good person and helping others and putting everything that they've learned here out into their community. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Megan. Next up, we have Lorraine Malouf, who will talk to you a little bit about our classical education program.
I don't know, a little bit, but I will talk. Bonjour, good morning. I'm Mireille Malouf, and I've been an educator for over 30 years. I have been teaching French here at BFCCPS for 15 years. Excuse my accent, I speak 4 languages. French is my #1 language. I have loved being part of this community. It's an amazing school. As an educator, I love the idea of educating the whole child. I have taught in Australia and in France, and now I'm here in the United States. I've been here, as I said, for 15 years. I have taught middle school, all-girls schools, and high school. And I've taught in public, private schools, and I love that we have those choices in life for our children. Today I would like to talk about the classical education component of BFCCPS. Sorry, I'm going to quote this philosopher. His name is François-Marie Arouet, and he's known as Voltaire. And he says, he's a 17th century philosopher, and he says, il faut cultiver son jardin. You must cultivate your garden. And I see our students as the seeds, and we are making sure that these students, or those seeds, are nurtured, and they grow into these amazing individuals. We challenge them, We encourage them and we help them to become amazing citizens and confident in themselves. And it's okay sometimes to fall down and to get up again, because that's what makes you a better person and an amazing and a strong student. We are here because you heard about us, so it must be good. Word of mouth is the best. Everything on paper looks fantastic. But I think the best thing to know about us is to go on the website and talk to alumni and people who have left our school many years ago and still come back. So I think that is the best thing. I cannot tell you enough in a few minutes everything I love about this school. Everyone here works together as a team. We work for one purpose, and it's the children. Educating is we are a public school, as Mrs. Zarnowski says, and the curriculum is a very rich one. My colleagues in other schools are always jealous and saying, wow, you teach all those things. Yes, and we are a public schools. Our education of the whole child provides a technology-confused, rigorous education of the 4 major content areas: math, science, social studies, history, ELA, which is reading and writing, and coupled with a strong program in languages, French and Latin, and in the fine performing arts. Every class has access to technology. This is shown by the class sets of iPads and Chromebooks. Because of that commitment from our supportive board and our head of school and our executive director, technology is woven throughout the various subjects. What about Latin and French? I'm going to start with Latin and French because that's an area that I know a lot about. Learning a second language is a progression and inspires from grade to grade. Vocabulary is introduced, reinforced, reviewed, expanded upon, and then mastered. Each aspect of language acquisition is focused on reading, writing, speaking, and listening comprehension. We just had our spelling bee, and we had 16 amazing students in this spelling bee, and a lot of the words had French and Latin roots, and they were amazing. Like things like "enfants" or "galette," which is "gala." So it's really, and the kids, it helps them with English. Latin starts in grade 4, and it is once a week in grades 4 and 5, and then twice a week in 7 and 8. Students are exposed to the culture and the language. Most of our English and French words, as I said, derive from Latin. Students begin French in kindergarten up to grade 4 once a week. It is an enrichment experience, special, because only once a week, just like music and art, and PE. It's twice a week in grade 5, and then 3 times a week in grade 6, and then 4 times a week in 7 and 8. So it's almost like math, English, and science, except that's every day. During class, students are immersed as much as possible in French, and we encourage them to use and speak the language in the class and outside, doing every night a little bit, of course, practicing. The goal of the program is to stimulate a lasting love of the French language and culture. We hope to inspire students to continue their language studies beyond their time, and most of them do. And that's, I'm just so proud of them. Grade 7 students correspond in French with the students in Quebec in grade 7, and we reinforce that by spending 4 days in Quebec City to immerse them in the language, and we spend time with the students, and then they come back here the following year and we meet them in Boston. Students in grades 6, 7, and 8 are invited to also participate in something called the French National Concours, the Grand Concours. It's not mandatory, they're invited and they are encouraged to participate, and our school is very generous to pay for every student. And our students do very, very well, and we always award them with medals, and we have a celebration and assembly for them. Another special things in language that we do is celebrate French culture through French Week, something called French Week, where we do different things every day, like the French market, where we raise money for Quebec. Also, kids make all inspired French items that we sell, and some people donate. Parents are very, very generous, donating lots of things. We made this year like almost $2,500 towards the trip. We also have artists invited to an assembly. The PCO, which is a parents' community organization, supported by very, they support the languages. This year we had CD Maiga, which is a musician, and an artist from Mali. And the theme for French Week this year was Friends Beyond this Border, and teaching kids that it's not just French in France, but beyond the border, and that no country can live on its own, that we all need each other, and that really, when you say you don't speak French, yes you do, we all speak French somehow, through Latin. Another key component of our classical education is the academic assemblies that we have. Each class puts on a fun and creative educational assembly to show off some of the things that we do in the class. And one year, a student in grade 8 math class did a math musical. It was amazing, it was fun, it was incredible, it was very creative. This year, Mrs. Kovacs, our ELA teacher in 7 and 8, presented literary writing, poetry that were created by students. ELA focuses on the study of select novels. This approach assists students in the improvement of their reading, writing, and grammar skills. I asked Mr. McSweeney, our social studies teacher, what does he hope to achieve by the end of history, social studies, and he gave me a little thing to share with you. And he says that the emphasis of social studies curriculum in the middle school is to develop students' critical thinking skills to help them navigate their decisions in the future high school and beyond, and exposure to primary sources, and help them develop the confidence to recognize patterns and question the validity and morality of events from the past. We ask them to understand the how and the why of history rather than memorization to draw their conclusion. And their conclusion is always based on sound and logical reasoning. We hope they live here with the context for the world they are entering into with confidence and pursue and advocate for what they have determined to be right. Every day at school, we are amazed at how good our students are. And then, like Mrs. Zanowski said about the science fair, that we had 100 grade 7 and 8 students presented their research experiment and finding, and it was so gratifying, not just about the actual project, but what drove them to do that project. Every individual student had a different project, and all to do with how to make our planet better and how to make people's life better, or the elderly better, inventing and producing all sorts of things. So I think it's just an amazing thing that students had to go through, or didn't have to, but produced. And then, of course, the next thing is that we are at a school that is committed to the arts and the fine arts. In most schools, these are the first things that go and get cut because of finances. We never ever have done this in the past. Never. I've been here 16 years, and I've seen it done in many other schools. So it's the whole child. Our music program is a very rich one, and it's growing and keeps on growing. In 5 and 6, we have a wind ensemble. In 7 and 8, we are encouraged to have symphonic band, and every grade goes to a music lesson once a week. Our students compete in music in the park, and they participate in the memorial parade. Everyone, also art classes, with Miss Sunday, Jen Sunday, they do amazing work, and during the cultural area, during art enrichment, they do individual work that they are also presenting at the end of it. We have the art show that every student's work is displayed at the Dean College. In conclusion, our classical education and rigorous academic standards are one of the tools that helps our BFCCPS graduates to continue to excel academically at local public high school and private ones. The secret is that we know each one of our students, and we work as a team. Every one of us is passionate about this school, and we love coming here. When I asked the grade 8 students this year, only like yesterday, I say, what will you take from our BFCCPS? Who started in kindergarten? Who started in grade 1? Who came in grade 6? Who came in grade 7? And every one of them came with some amazing answers. Some of them said the virtues. I love the way we involve the virtues in our teaching. Others said community service. Others said the diversity. And others say that you are allowed to be who you are, and the inclusiveness, that everybody, even if you come in grade 8 or grade 7, no one is left out. So when the students leave our school, they are ready and equipped with all the skills necessary to face the challenges ahead of them. Our students have received merit-based scholarships in many of the schools, independent schools in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. I'm very proud to say that we exemplify the virtue of each one of our students. Kindness, perseverance, courage, fortitude, optimism, prudence, and friendship that make them into the exceptional young men and women we send to our world. Thank you.
To understand why our middle school students love French class. Next up, we have Cynthia Garboski, who is a parent at our school and a member of our PCO, who's going to talk a little bit about community service.
Good morning. I like this page better because it shows some of what I'm talking about. So I'm Cynthia Garboski. I have 2 children in school, so before anything else, I am a parent here. My daughters are in 1st and 2nd grade this year, so this is my 3rd year with the school, and my 1st year as a member of the board of the PCO. However, I will say, before I get to community service, if you have a child who goes to school here, you are part of the PCO. Every parent is automatically a member of the parent community organization. However much you participate becomes up to you. I chose to join the board this year, and I love it. I love being involved in everything going on. I see behind the scenes as to what the parents are doing to impact their school and impact their children's lives in school. Regarding community service, it's a big part of every student's life here at BFCCPS. That all students have 3 types of community service every year. They do service to school, service to the community, and a worldwide service project. This starts as young as 5 years old in kindergarten. They are working for the school, they go outside, and they rake up our schoolyard. Now you can imagine a 5-year-old with a rake in his hands is a pretty dangerous situation. So instead of just sending them out there hoping they can rake some leaves, they actually have a buddy program, because they have 5th grade buddies. And they work with their buddies throughout the school year for reading and crafts and different things, just to have an older student that they're working with. That 5th grade buddy goes out there with them and rakes their leaves. So you can actually see, I think the top corner there is, I believe actually Megan's child that was speaking earlier, with their bag of leaves, and then the bottom corner is another one. But these kids are together, they're raking leaves. Parents do come in and help as well. So the parents are typically holding the bags open and making sure that everything, tries to get in the bag. And they do a very good job of actually collecting these leaves, bagging them up, and then they'll be taken away. It's something that kids can do for their school. So even as small as 5 years old, and then working with their 5th graders, as somebody else mentioned, having their role models of older kids working with young kids, they're having these 5th graders as their role models, setting the example for how to act, how to be out there, how to get the job done, while still having fun. In 1st grade, they start doing Meals on Wheels and Valentine's for veterans, so they'll be working on cards to send to our veterans. Just, again, a little something that a young student can do to put a smile on somebody's face and make their holiday, I'm not a Valentine's person, but make their holiday a little bit brighter. In 2nd and 3rd grade, they work with the Franklin Senior Center and 4 Nursing Home. I know from experience, my daughter is in 2nd grade, and then she's doing her 2nd project this week with the Senior Center, that I think it was Halloween they did something, and now they're doing something Valentine's Day, that they're putting together cards. They had to do a project at home to raise money or raise funds to purchase a bag of candy that will then be put together to go to the seniors. I know seniors like candy so much, but they really do apparently like Little Pops, are their favorites. So the kids have to put together, do something at home, so that's up to the parents. The parents need to decide what your child is going to do, and then put together a paper with an illustration and writing explaining what they did. So in my instance, my daughter did the laundry. She'd never done the laundry before. When I suggested that, she was so excited. I taught her how to use the machine. She's now in charge of washing the towels in the house. I'm excited. But then she had to put together a drawing and a writing of what she did. So she had to do the laundry. I didn't do it once. I made her do it every week. We had to keep washing towels, and she'd do it for several weeks. And then I went out with her, and we just bought a bag of pre-wrapped candy that she brought to school with her paper. And one of the most important thing on the paper is how it made her feel. So when she wants to say it writes it for, I felt this while doing this project. She felt helpful. It doesn't need to be big, but it's making them think about what they're doing. And then they're going to go to the senior center and drop off these bags of candy. So it becomes interactive, that the seniors are getting a chance to see the kids, and the kids get to see the seniors. Again, not every kid loves it, like kids are boring, but. What else do we have? So the fifth graders hold a food drive for the Rhode Island Food Pantry, and they participate in the holiday mail for heroes. Again, sending letters to the holidays when our veterans are overseas or away from home. Any little bit, I think, helps make their holiday a little bit better. The sixth grade students hold a winter coat drive with cradles to crayons, and they raise money from Heifer International through, it's not my name, Honey Valentine's Sale. These things are awesome. So every year, the sixth grade students create Valentines, and they are honey. I wish I could remember like one of the words. So they'll have a pig on it and say something about, you know, make my heart oink. I don't know. I'm not good. But they make these cards, and then they sell them. So the students can purchase them, or parents can purchase them and surprise their kids. They're about $1 or something, you know, minimal amount that you can spend, and they send it to the kids during Valentine's Day to have these special Valentines. Little things that they're doing, that they're raising money, and that money then goes to Heifer International. So typically all have animals on them as well. Also with Heifer International, the entire school participates in a community service project every year with Heifer International. And they learn all about, if you don't know what Heifer International is, it's a program in which you raise money for providing a village or a family with an animal. So whether it be chickens, or goats, or sheep, or any other useful animal, cows, that is going to sustain them. It's along those lines of give a man a fish, he needs to have it for a night, and teach a man to fish, he needs to have it for life. It's providing these families with something that will support them for their lives. And it's teaching the kids the necessities of life, that the kids are learning about what they're doing, what they're providing for these families, that they're not just handing them $10 and say, okay, you know, go buy a hamburger. They're raising money to provide this family with a cow that they can milk and sell the milk in their village, or they can raise cows and butcher them, chickens that give the eggs, and so they're learning about where that comes from. And that's a yearly part of the entire school participates in. Trying to think of what else I want to throw in here while I'm talking about so much. This whole school also participates in the Santa Foundation. I think many people in Franklin know about Santa Foundation. Our school does take on several families for that. We, parents and faculty, go out and shop off the list for the Santa Foundation to donate to that. So that's another yearly project we do. And last year, so this, the Worldwide Service Project is a service within the school. And then last year we also did hurricane relief in Puerto Rico. That there was a school that one of our teachers actually went down and visited with, and they were so lacking of books after the hurricane, and they had no books for their school. Now they got a lot of books donated from other organizations, but they were still lacking in what they could teach these students. So as a school, we raised money with the students involved to send to hurricane relief. And I don't know if all of it or a portion of it went to this particular school, but $1,700 was raised to be able to send down to Puerto Rico. And that's when the kids are involved in. They have little things like jeans days. I'm wearing jeans today, which I wouldn't normally in the school building. Jeans are not allowed at school. So they have specific jeans days that they can wear jeans that day if they bring in $1. It's not a big amount, it's just $1. And that money gets stored up and eventually gets donated to these different charities or whatever has been specified for that year. So it's our hope that they learn these experiences and they carry that on with them for the rest of their lives. And it's more than just about what they're doing, what they're learning, it's how they impact the world. That every little student, big student, adults alike, all have an impact on the world, and they're part of that.
There's just two other community service projects that I wanted to mention. Two of them that you see up here are community garden. About 8 years ago, we became part of the Franklin Community Garden program. The seedlings start in our classroom, so our students learn about planting, they learn about how plants grow, how much sunlight they need, and then they are planted typically by our fourth graders into our raised beds. Then they are, which our raised beds were built as part of our capstone project, I'm going to talk about in a second. But then they're harvested over the course of the spring and the summer, and then they're donated back to the Franklin Food Pantry for people in Franklin to be able to get there. Another project that Cynthia touched on is our third graders every year partner with Forage Hill, which is an assisted living facility here in Franklin. And they go there 3 times a year and they interact with the residents, either doing arts and crafts or playing games or singing songs. They do different activities every time they go. And earlier this year, one of our staff members lost her mom. She had been battling dementia for a pretty long time. And she got trained in a program called Dementia Friends. And she asked if she could come and teach our third graders some of the things that they have learned in this program. So all of our third graders a couple of weeks ago were trained in this program to really understand how to interact. Because a lot of times they had questions about some of the residents who would ask them the same question over and over again, and they wanted to be polite, but they weren't quite sure how to navigate that situation. So she trained them all in being dementia friends. And then they went this past week to Forage Hill and were able to do their arts and crafts projects that they did. And when they came back, they had said how much that training had helped them to understand kind of where the residents were coming from, and gave them some strategies to be able to work with the ones who may be struggling a little bit with dementia. So it definitely is an opportunity for our students to learn how to interact with their community, to learn different skills, and then be able to get back to their community in various ways. This all culminates with what we call our capstone projects. Our capstone projects are individual community service projects that are planned and implemented by our 7th and 8th grade students. They start the project in November of their 7th grade year. It's an 8-step intensive project that goes from November through January of their 8th grade year. They research, they brainstorm, they come up with something that they would like to have an impact on, and then they present a proposal to their advisor and their and one of our administrators as to what their project is. They set 3 goals for themselves, 2 community service-based goals and 1 personal learning goal. And oftentimes that is learning to speak in front of others. Procrastination seems to be a popular one with our 7th and 8th grade students. So how can they better spread their time out so that they're not completing their project in November of their 8th grade year? But we ask them to set a personal goal so that they can also get something out of this project for themselves. They can build some of the skills that they need to be successful in 8th grade. They're given the green light to go forward or the yellow light to go back and kind of take a look at it and tweak some things. And then they implement their community service project between usually March of 7th grade through November of 8th grade. And then they present their projects in a presentation to about 300 people. And they get up and they give a 5-minute presentation on what their goals were, what they did to attain those goals, what roadblocks they had if there were any, how they persevered through those roadblocks, and then what they learned from the process itself. It is a culmination of all 4 of our pillars together. It requires parental support for them to complete this project. It requires them to look into themselves and the character that they have built over the time that they have been here. It draws on the community service projects that they've participated in, and it really draws on their classical education, those skills of time management, those skills of being able to get up and speak in front of people and present, to reach out to these organizations and find a way that they can have an impact or that they can help to correspond with adults, to plan the activities that they plan, to be able to bring these projects to the goals that they look to attain. So some of the projects that our students have done in the past, if any of you live in Franklin and are familiar with the Franklin Dog Park, that was one of our 8th grade's capstone presentation. She came into her panel with a binder full of permissions from the town to be able to build the dog park. She had aerial photos of where it was going to be. She had donations from area organizations that helped with the fencing that went around it, that helped with some of the landscaping that was in it. And then she got together a group of volunteers in the community and built a dog park. We had another student whose aunt had undergone breast cancer and had to have a mastectomy, and she found that heart-shaped pillows were helpful when undergoing both open heart surgery and breast surgery in recovery. So she taught her 8th grade classmates how to sew, and they sewed a combination of, I think, 65 or 70 heart-shaped pillows. She had the material donated, and then she mailed them to Johns Hopkins, which is the hospital that her aunt had been in, and they had an opportunity to be able to give these pillows out. So it was something that was very important to her, something that had impacted her family, and something that she wanted to have an impact on and change. And the last one I'm going to tell you is one from this year. The student actually, I was his panel advisor. I was the one who had to give him the approval. And he sat through, our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, our 6th, 7th, and 5th grade students sit through the capstone presentations. So they have an opportunity to hear what our 8th grade students are doing and see if there's anything that inspires them to do their own community service. And he had heard a project that a student had done on colony collapse of bees in the Franklin and Norfolk area. And he got really interested in why this was happening and what he could do to be able to help this. So he decided to become a certified beekeeper. So he got his own, he went to class, and it was 32 hours of class to become a certified beekeeper. He got beehives. Throughout his presentation, we learned that he had an extensive fear of insects. So he not only did he do this, but he overcame his fear of insects. He said he has not gotten stung yet. His parents said they have gotten stung about 7 or 8 times. But it was, he heard about this through somebody else's project, decided that he wanted to have an impact, and he now has beehives in his backyard and is going to try and help to stop this from happening. So it's just a really great way to show how all of our 4 pillars come together and how important it is for us to support students, as Maria had said, the whole child, not just their academics, but also them as a person and the character that they have. So we are going to just pause the presentation for a second because we've given you a lot of information, and we're going to give you an opportunity to ask questions on the mission, on the 4 pillars, or on the curriculum. I'm here to answer questions. We have any of our presenters, and then I'm going to invite Mavis and Grace, if you guys don't mind coming down. Mavis is a graduate of BFCCPS. She is a sophomore, thank you, at Montrose. And Grace is an 8th grade student at BFCCPS who just did her capstone presentation in January. And they are both Mavis started at BFCCPS in 5th grade, and Grace started at BFCCPS in 6th grade. So if you have any questions on what it is like to transfer into a school that is a K-8 school, and then Mavis can speak to what it's like to move on from a K-8 school and what that transition has been like for her. So does anybody have any questions on anything we've covered so far? Go ahead. So I'm just going to answer the question about the bullying policies and procedures, and then I'll let you guys answer that. So all schools in Massachusetts have to have what's called a bullying prevention and intervention plan. We based ours on our character education program. It was one of the easiest things that's required by the state for us to do, because the things they were asking us to document, we already had in place. So they actually ended up using our bullying prevention and intervention plan as a model for other schools. Because we have that character education, we have that empathy, we have the friendship building, we have those things that you need to do ahead of time to be able to set the groundwork for students to have conversations about what it means when you are bullying somebody and how you are not having empathy or sympathy. In order to have those conversations, it's really important to have that baseline of education to build on and common language across all grades, so that students can have a conversation of, you know what, I was not showing justice at that time. I was not being a good friend. Kids are kids. our students are not perfect. Our discipline philosophy is based on learning through what had happened and using those opportunities to teach students, kind of to brainstorm with students where they made a wrong decision and how they can make a better decision in the future. So I really think that that level of common language and expectations across all grade levels sets a tone for the fact that bullying is not accepted, and that if something happens and you hurt a friend's feelings or you are targeting somebody, it is going to be taken seriously, and we are going to do something about it so that all students feel safe coming to school.
Yeah, sure. And just about the kind of encouragements for the 4 pillars and how they're involved with the curriculum, I would say a great part of the school is the character award system we have. I'd say once a month maybe it happens, and essentially the whole school comes together during assemblies for the upper school, usually 6 to 8, 5 to 8, and they choose just a few students from each grade selected by specific teachers that they believe really exemplify one of the 4 pillars. And I can't tell you how good it feels, you know, when you're with your classmates and one of your classmates is called as a surprise usually, and they call your name or they call your friend's name and you're so proud of them, and it's just a great community moment. And that sticks by you. It's not a competition or something like that. It's just something that you remember. It's recognized by school. They pay attention to it. And it's really a testament to what the 4 pillars are.
Yeah, that is a huge, great part of our school. It's always so fun to see our parents' faces light up when we get an award. It's honestly one of my favorite parts of the year. And then especially our 8th grade, all of our grades so far have been so happy to come to school, because those things don't really happen as much as they would at other schools. I mean, things do happen, but we're just like such a loving environment that all the teachers, all the students really are happy to come to school and happy to be with each other and happy to learn. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I think both of us have seen the public school, we've seen the charter school, and now we've seen the private school. We've seen a lot of different communities, but I can tell you this is a special one. There's a reason 2 years later I'm still here and I want to come talk to you about this. There's a reason Grace is here and things like that. So, yes. Yes, we were both in public school before we came here, and it was a good shift, and we love it here, so that's why we want to be here.
I think the difference is just the people. The people in public school are just so different, and I feel like you're great with your family. You love your grade, you love school, and it's just like an opportunity to be here every day.
And I support this. Also, like in some of the grade 8, when we talk about this, we had a grade 8 student come this year, and I say, and she says that she loved this school. She's only been here this year, and she was in a school, so I know her name, and I said, what is so different? She says, I felt that there I was just excluded as a student, but here I'm included, even though people did not know me. I felt part of it slowly. And I think our school celebrates differences, and you can be who you are as long as you are true to who you are. And we like the differences. Just be who you are. That's
There is a video on our website that you can do if you'd like to, that talks to some of our middle school students that transferred in anywhere between 5th and 8th grade, and what it is that they feel is different for them and why they like the school, what it is about the school that makes them happy. So if you're interested in that, please just visit our website and videos.
A general comment about how the kids interact at comfort level at school. I became a substitute this year, so I get to see some of the behind the scenes, the fly on the wall stuff that our parents are like, what's going on over there. I talked about the community service stuff, how the K through 5 does the buddy program, so every year they have, I think in some grades they're reading buddies, some grades are just buddies and they'll do crafts together, but they work the older kids and the younger kids. When they get to 6th grade, and I didn't realize this until about a week ago, they start an advising program. Now, in 7th and 8th grade, it has to do with their capstone, I think it's more with that. I didn't know until last week that it starts in 6th grade. And what it is once a week, they take one period out of the day. And that period is called advising. And every student has a small group of 8 kids that gets together with a different teacher. It might be an academic teacher. I was substituting for our PE teacher that day, and I had to bring my group into another group, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I sat with this other group, and the teacher is there. It's a casual setting. Every advice group we run a little differently depending on the teacher, depending on the kids. But they got to talk about what was going on. So the teacher started out saying, so there's been a lot of drama going on right now in 6th grade. 6th grade, it's the second half of the school year. What's going on? And some of the kids were able to talk about, well, I'm friends with this boy, and people keep calling us, asking we're dating, but we're not, I don't really like it. And the teacher and the other kids were able to hear that and address it. And how should you go about it? What's it mean to you? How's it making you feel? And I feel like that, especially in our age where we're worried about bullying for everything, is a way for these kids to express what's going on with themselves. Understand from an adult how to address it, and have respect for what's going on with the other kids that are in that group. But it's a small group, so they feel so comfortable. I was so amazed by the end of this period. And I mentioned to the teacher and how they like that every week, that they are just so comfortable and able to talk to each other and talk to the teacher and have somebody to go to. And I was blown away by it. And I think that's something that they do constantly throughout middle school, which is a very hard transition time. That's what you're not going to get, I think, other schools that I've never heard of before. This was very specific, like anything they felt comfortable talking about.
You mentioned Open Circle. Our K-4 classrooms do use some of the ideas from Open Circle and from Responsive Classroom to do more meetings and class meetings and opportunities for them to have that culture building within their classroom as well.
How do classrooms handle students that are, maybe wide variety of levels of different topics? Is there any type of customization that can be done?
Yep, so in K through 5, we use a response to intervention model. So all students K through 8 are assessed at the beginning, middle, and end of the year using a measured and academic progress assessment. So we can see on their grade level, compared nationally to peers, but also compared to peers in their school, how they are doing. We use the data from that assessment as well as teacher data to determine readiness groups for math and reading. And so within reading, in K-4, we use the Lumber program. And that's broken up into reading levels so that our students who are in our lowest readiness level meets with their classroom teacher every day, but also meets with our reading specialist to determine what skills they need to strengthen so that we can get those who move out of that lowest readiness group. Those groups are fluid throughout the course of the year based on the strategies that we're using in the classroom. So a student could be receiving reading interventions from a reading specialist for maybe the first 6 weeks of school, and then those interventions switch to their classroom teacher until we make sure that they're solid in those skills. They meet every 6 weeks to either review intervention data that they've gathered over the course of those interventions, or map data every 2 cycles. We have the map data to review to make sure that those readiness groups, that the students are making progress on those goals, and that those readiness groups can be changed as they need to be. That information is shared with parents, so parents are aware what specialist is meeting with their child and what it is that they're working on. And the MAP assessments are shared with parents also after the teachers have had a time to review them within their RTI meetings. They're sent home to parents as well, so you can map your child's growth over the course of the year. Math is something we're working on doing that with as well, so we still use map data, and then we use kindergarten through grade 6, and we use big ideas in 7th and 8th grade as our math curriculum. And we do use math assessments as well as the assessments that come with our program to determine what interventions students need in math to make sure that they're staying on grade level. Those assessments also help us see those students who are working above grade level, and we're able to provide interventions and enrichment for them as well. So we use those assessments on both sides to see if there's students who need some support support to learn grade level skills, and their students who have mastered those grade level skills, and are there other enrichment projects that we can give them. We try our hardest to meet the needs of students within the classroom. Very infrequently do we have a situation where we cannot meet the needs of the child within the grade level classroom, and at that point we talk about the idea of double promotion, but that is something that is talked about with parents and with the classroom teacher, our math specialist, our curriculum specialist, our school counselor. There's like a whole team of people. In the time that I've been here, we've only had 2 students that we've had to approach that with. But we try as hard as we can to keep them with their age level peers and meet their needs with them.
Can I just hold on to my piece? So we, of course, are going to differentiate based on the skills that students need to work on, because we know that in any group of 25 students, there's a wide variety of learners and skills and everything else. So of course we differentiate the skills that they're working on and the degree of difficulty. We also try to really differentiate for each student the way that they learn. We know that some students learn differently. Maybe they learn best by reading, some are tactile learners. So we try to differentiate that. We really try to look at each individual student, how they learn best, and really focus whatever the skill is, what we're learning in math, and tailor it to them in that way.
Kindergarten.
And then the other question we have from Montana is transferring my daughter out of school, somewhere back to a Christian school where all of these children grew up together. Have you had any difficulty or conflict with your friends about transitioning back to a school where all the children knew each other through age grade?
So I transferred, as Grace did, we transferred from the public school, and now I've transferred back into the private school, which was a completely different community. So I've seen like 3 or 4 different communities in my life. And I can tell you that, what's your question more about the transition into the charter school, or how?
No, I'm less concerned about that because she's very young, but just transferring back to people that, at 9th grade, when all of these kids grew up together.
Well, I think one of the best things that you come out of a charter school with is just knowledge of how a community works and how to interact with other people, how to introduce yourself, how to interact with friends and things like that. So that side of it was not a problem for me at all. I think you just build skills that we're used to, as we can definitely attest to when you come to the charter school. People are very welcoming. People want to know about you. People want to know your name. They want to know what you like and things like that. And when you're used to asking those questions, when you're the one transferring back into the system, you know how to approach other people. You know how to build those skills like that.
We have a couple of students who came in grade 8. You say in grade 8? Well, she was in first grade. Oh, that's easy.
So I have a daughter who graduated last year. She started in kindergarten and went through 9th grade. I have a current kindergartner and a current 5th grader. And my husband and I had some conversation about that as well. It's like, how are we going to make sure they can transition from a small environment to a larger environment and then onto a college environment? How do we make sure that that is set? And one of the things that we do is just keep them involved in town activities as well. So my daughters have friends from their sports teams, from their dance schools. They have all of these little pockets of friends so that when they do transition to a larger school, they have that really strong, rigorous academic program. We offer a strong character education program, and we do that well. And we wanted it to be a successful transition, so we really wanted to focus on what we do well and make that available to more people. So we did decide not to expand from K to 12 and instead expand the number of students that we have.
So in the expansion, more first grade.
Yes. So if we can, I'll go on to the expansion, and then we can ask any more questions that you have about either curriculum, the mission, the pillars, or experience. So in March of 2014, as I mentioned, we had 2 charter amendments that were approved. The process started in 2013. And the first one was regionalization, so we went from a Franklin-based charter school to a regional charter school. And there are 13 communities that are included in that region that have a chance at enrollment. Right now, we are 97.8% of our student population is from our current region. 67.5% of them are from Franklin, and 30.3% are outside of Franklin. And we have about 2.2% that come from outside of our region. The other amendment that we were given at that time was to increase from 450 students to 900 students. The regionalization aspect, as I said before, went into effect the year after our amendment was approved, so the 2014-15 academic year. We have not been able to expand our enrollment because of the current facility that we're in. We cannot fit more than the 458 students we have now. So our Board of Trustees, our administration, and the Benjamin Franklin Educational Foundation set forward to find a new facility for our school. And we have done that at 500 Financial Park Drive in Franklin. We are in the process of building a 72,000 square foot brand new facility. There are some pictures on the back that show some of the renderings from our architect. We broke ground in March of 2018, and we are on schedule to receive our certificate of occupancy on May 30th of 2019. So we did, this is a view of the building from a drone that one of our Board of Trustees, actually the President of our Board of Trustees, flies over every week or two and takes some aerial footage for us so we can kind of track the progress. This actually, the last time this was taken was a week ago. And then these were taken yesterday. So the building has been, the steel has been completely erected, the roof is pretty much completed. The first floor is pretty much all drywalled. The siding has started going up on the outside of the building, and they will start painting as early as a week or two. And yesterday was our latest update. So we are expanding, we do have an expansion plan in place for us to expand from 450 to 900 students. It's about a 6-year plan for us to get there. So for the 2019-2020 school year, we'll be adding an additional 302 spaces in enrollment between kindergarten and grade 5. So this chart shows the available seats that we have for this coming lottery. We'll have 92 seats available in kindergarten, 40 seats in first grade, 41 in second grade, 40 in third grade, 41 in fourth grade, 41 in fifth grade, and at this time we don't have any seats available in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. So any students applying there will go on our wait list. As I mentioned earlier, the largest point of entry for us prior to this year was kindergarten and then grade 6, because we do have some families who feel like they know their child is going to a larger high school, and they want them to be in their middle school for 3 years before transitioning off to that high school. We have found a lot of families that want the opposite, that want a smaller environment for their child in middle school. So we have seen our enrollment in grade 6, 7, and 8 start to grow. Currently, we have 2 grades at each grade level with 25 or 26 kids in each class, and we'll be growing that to 4 classes at each grade level, kindergarten through grade 5, with 23 students in each class, so we're able to reduce our class sizes for right now. We currently have in kindergarten, first and second grade, we have a teacher and an assistant for each grade, for each classroom. In 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we have a teacher and then a shared assistant between the 2 classes. So we're hoping to bring that forward into next year as well. So our 3rd and 4th grade will continue to have a shared assistant between 2 classes. So we'll be hiring 2 new 4th grade teachers and a new assistant to support them.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joanne Vasili. I'm the one that's been filling your inbox with lots of information about the school after your application process. But since we do have a tight turnaround between the time that we run the lottery and the time that offers are due back to us, I wanted to make sure that you guys had all the information at your fingertips so that if you do receive an offer of acceptance, that you can make an informed decision about if this is the place for you. The enrollment process is a tiered process. It takes all of the applications and will review, all the application data is validated by my coworker, Mrs. Deb Leonard. Many of you have probably heard from her if you've done a thing like for your child's birthday, you might enter their birthday and then enter this year instead of their actual birth year. That's very common. Don't worry if you've done it, she sees it all the time. So our technology coordinator and our data coordinator work behind the scenes really to validate the data and make sure that we have true and correct applications, no duplicates and whatnot. When we have the finalized lottery data, it is randomized on the day of the lottery, which will be March 6th. It actually will be here in this room. If you want to come, you're welcome to, but there is no obligation. It is completely open to the public. The only information that the lottery is going to see is what is called your unique lottery ID, which when you key in an application, you get a bounce back response that tells all of this is the data you provided, and here is your unique lottery ID. The lottery does not see your name. The lottery does not see any of the other data that you have provided to us. It sees your application number, what grade you're applying for, whether your child is a sibling of an existing student, whether your child lives in our 13-town region, or whether your student lives outside of our region but still within the state of Massachusetts. That's all the data we see. It's going to shake that electronic pot and it's going to sort out a randomized list of applications. We then do what's called applying preference. So it's going to take that randomized list and it's going to move siblings of currently attended students to the top of that list. Then it will follow with the students from the region, thereafter the students that are outside of our region, again, but still in Massachusetts. Let's play it out for kindergarten. So for kindergarten, once we have that ranked list of siblings, regional and non-regional, it's going to take the first 92 spots on that list and start accepted 1, accepted 2, accepted 3. And it will go all the way down to the 92nd student. After 92 seats have been allocated, it will then start with waiting list 1, waiting list 2, waiting list 3. And we'll go all the way down the grade until all of the applications for kindergarten have been either accepted or waitlisted. We then repeat that process for the remaining grades. Again, if you're applying for 6th, 7th, and 8th, you will get a waiting list number at this time. But I don't want you to worry because usually parents will try and forestall any move or telling us any information about a move until much later in the year. And usually come late May or June, my phone starts ringing with my husband's been relocated and I've been living here and my husband's been in his new position just to try and finish out the school year. So it is kind of later in the season until I find that information, but it does happen. So we'll go through that process with the waitlisted and accepted and waitlisted for all of the grades. And you will receive by email to the email address used for your application. You will receive an email confirmation that lets you know whether your student was accepted or waitlisted. That usually happens within 24 to 48 hours this year just based on the volume of applications that we're going to have to go through to data enter everything properly and review all the applications to make sure that the information is correct. And then the other thing that we do is we do post this on our website. None of your confidential information is posted, so if you want to review it on the website, you'll need to have your unique lottery ID. That is the searchable key that will tie your unique lottery ID to an accepted or waitlist status. That is posted on our website so that you can view it at any time. We give applicants about a week to return their decisions to us. So I would check in about a week to a week and a half after the lottery if you have a wait list, because not everyone that receives an offer will accept it. So you'll see usually a change within first 2 weeks, and then you can monitor that consistently. That way you can, if it's a couple weeks in and you want to see where your status is, you can always look on the website and see how that has gone. Transportation is provided to all eligible families in Franklin from the Franklin Transportation Department. And then Their procedures regarding rates and the distance, the free to ride distance, is all through the Franklin Transportation Department. Students who live outside of Franklin but still within the region will be available to ride our regional transportation service. Please note that those are community bus stops. It's not a door-to-door service. We currently have 3 bus lines that service a number of towns, but really the ridership and the bus routes are going to be determined by which of you get in. So we will send out a Google form to accepted parents to indicate whether they're interested in a bus or not interested in a bus, so that we can work with our transportation team to figure out what is the most efficient way to get students here. Right now we have 1 bus that services Bellingham and Milford. I'm sorry, Bellingham and Medway and Milford. Bellingham is its own bus line, and then we have another line that does Norfolk, Rentham, Plainville, and Walpole. Anyone that lives outside of the region, we have to figure out what the bus lines are and what the stops are and how full those buses are. In the past, if the bus has had a seat available, students from outside the region can meet the bus at an existing bus stop, but that really is on a year-by-year basis. It depends on how full those buses are. Some of those buses have been quite full. Yeah, just a reminder that it is not door-to-door, so don't plan on it for next year for sure. Okay, and that is a free service if you are on the regional bus. I'm always hesitant to say that unless she gives me the go-ahead. The regional bus service does, we have a split start time. Our middle school students start at 8:20 and our younger students start at 9 o'clock. So if your child is taking the regional bus, they would come here for our 8:20 start time, and they have morning care before school. Morning care is puzzles, games, outdoor recess when the weather is appropriate. My younger son always used to get mad if he didn't get the chance to go to morning care. It was like extra fun time, extra social time. And then they head up to their classrooms at 9 o'clock. Applications, if you have not done one already and you'd like to today, there's applications on the back that I can drop off in the office. It is also available on our website. It's really easy to key it directly in, and again, you'll get an immediate bounce back. If you don't get a bounce back, call the office and we can look it up for you. That usually means that somewhere along the line you have miskeyed your email address. And they are due by the 27th at 4 p.m. And my name's Joanne, and my card's in the back, so please email me if I can be of any help at all. And now we'll open it up for questions about lottery, enrollment, regionalization, expansion, any of that.
So your child becomes a sibling once they have somebody that's attending the school. So where we sometimes see this happen is let's say you have one applying for kindergarten and one applying for 6th grade. And then it goes in kindergarten and now we're waiting for 6th grade. If your kindergartner is accepted, once they attend their first day of school, your 6th grader then becomes a sibling, but they don't become a sibling until they've attended their first day of school. And then they move up on the wait list with their unique ID, with their unique lottery order within the sibling list. So once school starts, those lists readjust as well, because as students become siblings, they move up on the wait list into the sibling status.
That being said, we had triplets that got in by the luck of the draw. We had triplets that got in at the same time, so honestly, anything.
So my daughter was going into 3rd grade. Is there a chance for possible incoming students to come in and see the school, meet the students, because she was part of the decision here?
So in the past, we have done with our older students, we have what's called a step-up day. So any student going into 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, we do a step-up with their teachers so they can meet their teachers and learn about the curriculum and how things may be a little bit different. And we've invited new students in on that day. We will most likely have something similar. This is, again, is the first time that we have so many new students in first through fourth grade, fourth through fifth grade. So we will try to do something similar where they can come in and shadow. We have to try to figure out how to schedule that. It will be, in the past, it's been a little bit easier because we're talking about 2 or 3 students, but now we're going to be talking about 41 students. So we do want them to have an opportunity to see the school, to meet the teachers that we have now, and to meet the students. So we're going to have to figure out kind of what that looks like.
Before school care, is that a fee for service, and then is there an aftercare?
So the before school care is a fee for service for anybody who does not take our regional transportation. For students who take our regional transportation, because we run the same bus for elementary and middle school, they have to be here early. They get here around 8:15 or 8:20. So there's no fee for them to attend before school care. There is a fee for anybody else who wants to attend. And we will be having an after-school program. We currently rent this facility from the Archdiocese of Boston and have to be out by 3:45 every day. So the types of after-school programs we can offer are very limited. But we will be offering a full after-school program next year. And we're in the process of working out the details with that, and we'll hopefully be communicating that in the next couple of weeks. We do not have a police officer on duty. We do have a school resource officer that we work with, but we do not have a police officer on duty. We do have an extensive security system, though that's in the process of actually being wired right now. That includes a 2-door entrance. So there's 2 points of entry that the person needs to be buzzed in. The first one is through the main front door, and then they're into an entry vestibule, and they have to be buzzed in a second time from there. There's cameras that are facing all of our doors, all of our openings, and a screen that sits in our front office that shows all of those cameras at the same time. All of our exterior doors are locked from the outside, so you can't get in. There's crash bars on the inside, so you can get out, but you can't get in. And some of them do have key card access for our faculty and staff, but those are limited as well, and they all have cameras on them. And then we have a fire suppression system that we can turn on at any point that closes all of our fire doors, and our fire doors are done in a way that locks off specific aspects of the building, so that if somebody were to get through all of those, we press that button, those doors close, and there's no access to students at that.
Do you have any idea about how many applications you're receiving per grade? Like, my daughter's going into 3rd grade. Like, what are her chances of actually, are there 300 applications, 100 applications?
Right.
per grade?
It's hard to say at this time because we still have 2 weeks left in our application cycle. We do not have 300 applicants for each grade level. But at this point, we do have more applicants for each grade level than we do have seats. But I will say that this is the best time, and pretty much the only time in the near future, to have such a great chance at getting into the school. It is the first time that we have had 42 openings in a grade level other than kindergarten in 21 years. So if ever there was a chance to get in, now is the time. And I will say that we often have some of our parents who will say that they tried in kindergarten and they were waitlisted, and they tried again in 1st grade and they were waitlisted, and then they tried again in 2nd grade and they finally got in, and then all of their kids became siblings. So within a year, they were all here. So if you are waitlisted, I would say do not lose hope, because as Mrs. Basile said, we always see movement. We encourage people to accept. We have a very short turnaround time between when we let you know that you have a spot, and when we have to let the DESE know or the Department of Education know what students are enrolling in, or what students have been accepted, and what towns they come from. There's about a 9-day turnaround time. So my suggestion is that if you get it, if you're still on the fence and you're not quite sure, and you get an offer, that you accept it, because you can always decline it later. But if you don't accept it and you decline it, then and you're out. There's no, you gotta wait till next year to apply again.
To add on to that, I've had instances that a parent has declined the offer because their kids were split. They said no thanks because the sixth grader didn't get in, third grader did. They turned down the offer, but I made an offer to the other student. And they were like, oh my gosh. So if you're declining because you didn't get both your kids in, we are still so far away from the start of school. And depending on the age of your kids, sometimes if you have if your kids are going to be going to different schools anyways, between elementary and middle, don't let that be your only deciding factor. Get to know us a little bit more because really there's a lot of time for that question.
Why are you limiting to 92?
Why we're doing it, so that we can reduce class sizes for the next 5 or 6 years. So that we can bring our class sizes down from 25 to 23. And what we'll do is, so just to explain a little bit of our expansion plan, we're expanding to 92 students kindergarten through 5th grade in 2019-2020. In the 2021 school year, those 92 5th graders will then become 92 6th graders. And we'll continue that path until we have 92 students kindergarten through 8th grade. And then the following year, we'll add 4 students at a time to each grade level, so that we get to 100 students. 1, so that we can reduce class size for as long as possible, and 2, because we opened as a K-4 school, we wanted to have a measured growth when we opened our expansion as well. We want to make sure that we can maintain that small group feeling and that small group culture as we continue to expand. So that's why we started with K-5 and didn't go K-8. It was really successful when the school opened, and we feel like that's the best way for us to continue with this expansion.
Yes. Sorry if I missed this question already, but are you planning to have summer programs of any kind at the new school for parents and students to see it, and if we're accepted? And yeah, I have a kindergartner that would possibly be going.
Sure. So right now, we are told that our certificate of occupancy should be handed over as of May 30th. That would be the best case scenario. It would give us a month to move out of this facility. It would give us the months of June, July to kind of set everything up. And our plan is to have as many open houses, as many opportunities for our teachers to be there to meet new students. An opportunity for our 8th graders have only ever been, our current 7th graders, have only ever been in this building. They're actually the only ones who are like, we're not so sure we want to move. Like, we've been here for 9 years, we're not so sure we want to go to a new school. So we need to give our current students as well as our new families an opportunity to get to know the building as much as possible. That will be dictated by our construction schedule.
Okay, great.
But our goal is to have as many opportunities for people to be in that building before school starts as possible.
Thank you.
And I actually have students that are dying to be my
Yep, so our school day, we start at, our middle school students start arriving at 8 o'clock if they go to 10 morning care or don't do a band or chorus in the morning. And they go to the report to come in at 8 to their classes starting at 6 in the morning. Our elementary school students K-5, their day starts at 8:45 unless they have a band or they have morning care. And then their homeroom and their class period starts at 9. And then everybody dismisses at 3 o'clock. So it usually takes us about 15 to 20 minutes to get to our dismissal, but most students are out by then. Our calendar, we do our best to follow the other school calendars within our region. So our Christmas vacations, our April vacations, our February vacations are aligned. Our start date isn't always aligned. Our last day of school isn't always aligned. And our professional development days are done on our own. So there may be a half day that we have that another district does not have, but our major holidays and our major vacations are all aligned.
In the second one is the regional area. So, residential planning will all be at this time. You don't have priorities and district. What happens is that I'm sorry.
maybe the 7:35 train that leaves out of Brentwood. So we are doing some discussion around maybe starting that a little bit earlier. But we are also trying to be cognizant of how much time then a student would be in our building. So a kindergartner to be in school from 7 o'clock until maybe 6 o'clock is a really long day. So we're just trying to figure out what's, I think Lorraine said it best, we try to make all of our decisions on what's best for kids, and then what supports our students and our families from there. So that's one of the things that we're looking at this. But right now it starts at 7:30. So the question was, do we have recess for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? We do 2 periods a week for all students K to 8, and then we do have recess K to 8 for all students for 25 minutes. Is on our schedule. Our kindergartners tend to take a little while to get outside, so their recesses tends to be a little bit longer. But we do have recess and then 2 periods a week for everyone.
We went to another open house and their drop-off kindergartner, and their drop-off was pretty much drop-off line where your child would have to get themselves out of the car and be walked over. Is it similar here, or can you walk your child in?
So right now, we have 2, because we have 2 start times, we have 2 drop-off times. Our drop-off procedures will change in our new facility because we had some control over the way it was laid out. So those procedures will change a little bit. For the first couple of weeks of school, we do allow kindergarten parents to park and walk their kids up to the ramp. We do ask that we have our kindergarten assistants and some other, usually our speech language pathologists, our occupational therapists, and our school counselor, our school psychologists are there, and we wait for a small group of kindergartners to gather, and then we walk them up to their classrooms. The first day of kindergarten is always an open house. So you come into the classroom, you have an opportunity to meet the teacher. They do a little bit of a scavenger hunt, where's the bathroom. It's much easier in the building because all of our kindergarten classrooms have bathrooms in the classroom, so we don't have to walk around the hall, which is nice. Where's the class fish? They do it, where's your puppy, where's your coat, where's your seat in the classroom. So the first day is an open house. The second day and the third day are both half days. And at that point, you're allowed to walk them up to the ramps. And again, we walk them in the room, so they can take the bus if they want to on those 2 days here. But they can't take the bus home, you do have to come and pick them up. And then after that, we do have, right now we have a drop-off procedure that has cars dropping off at the, out in our parking lot, and we have a loading area that students walk behind. Our new facility, the drop-off will be right next to the school, so it's a much shorter distance that they have to walk, and it's on the sidewalk right next to the school. So the drop-off will be a little bit easier at that time. This is an opportunity for us to also use our older students. They haven't yet met their 5th grade buddies, but we usually rely on some of our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students also to help them get to the door and get assistance. But those first couple of weeks of school, we have assistants broken up between our bus arrival and our car arrival, so that we are walking them with an adult into the building and kind of get that process down.
Great, thank you. And the first few weeks of school is really an all hands on deck. I'm not student facing, I work in the central office, but on days like that, everybody's on board. So I've walked from kindergarten up to class, and even still we have, because my desk is in the front office, we have a kindergartner that comes in party, and it's a video like, let's go for a walk. So, everybody that works in this school works here to save other kids. So your child's never going to have to walk themselves somewhere that they don't feel like they don't know exactly what they're doing. So we all really jump in.
So the preference is for Assemblies first, and then anybody who lives within our region, and then
offered spots as long as we don't have more siblings and we have spots available, and that's never happened. So all the students will be given a spot first, and then our regional residents, and then if there are any spots available, our non-regional residents based on your lottery. However, I mentioned those preferences can change once a student starts attending school. All of their siblings lose sibling status, so those lists change. They can move into our region at any time. You then show proof of residency, then you can become a regional resident at that time and you'll be relisted on that wait list based on your original lottery order as a regional resident. And it works the other way. If you move out of the region, you become a non-regional resident and you can the wait list.
What's keeping you up at night about this transition?
Construction timeline would be the main one, but they've been really working hard on that. So we have a great project manager, a wonderful construction manager. So we really have, and we've had a very mild winter. So if anybody out there can hope and wish for no snow days, it would be very helpful. But so I would say that. But as I mentioned before, we've been preparing for this expansion for a long time. So we have a lot of, we've tried to think through everything that we can think of that will come up. We have a lot of policies and approaches in place to handle those things. We've included our community, our students, our teachers, our parents to really kind of try to troubleshoot what the biggest anxieties are in our community. Our students are very excited about a new lunch program, so that made them happy when they found out we had a new lunch program. But I would say probably construction timeline. We will be hiring roughly 40 new positions over the next couple of months. So that's something that we're tackling next. Is the next big thing. We are really thinking about being hired in the first year. We have a definition of what a BFCCPS teacher is. We have a very strict job description of what it is that we need from a teacher, and we're really thinking. We had a first grade position open this year. We had 160 applicants within the first 4 days. We actually had to shut the posting off because we couldn't review the resumes fast enough. But we're definitely thinking about being hired and what we're looking for in any of the positions that we have. And I feel like I mentioned really important that anybody who works here understands that we are here for that 458 or 708 students that we have in front of us.
And as far as construction timeline, we will be out there taking pictures and giving updates every other week now, moving forward. So we just posted one on our website and Facebook last night. So I'm looking forward to going back over here after vacation. So you can stay in tune and see what's going on the property. Follow the homepage of our website. There'll always be tagged expansion update, and if you follow us on Facebook, I'll post some links too. So it's really exciting. It's really
So the question was, do you have an areas separate, or are there opportunities for collaboration and project-based learning? There are definitely opportunities for project-based learning. I think our capstone is one of them. But our students participate in a science fair every year from 5th or 8th grade, a social studies fair every year from 5th or 8th grade, and a French fair. Our second graders participate in an immigration evening where they learn about their own families and their cultures, and they present that out in a way that they like to. So some of them are PowerPoint presentations, some of them are interesting takes on family trees, but it's an opportunity for them to kind of share a little bit about themselves. Starting in 3rd grade, the way our teaching teams work is one of our 3rd grade teachers teaches science to all 3rd graders, and one teaches social studies to all 3rd graders, and then they teach math and English to their own classrooms. And so that gives them an opportunity to take the social studies standards and the reading and writing standards and intertwine them,
as well as science. So they do, like our third graders do a biography project where they research a personal history, and then they have to give a report within class on that, and they do an artistic rendering of them, so that we're hanging in our hall, and it's really interesting to try to guess who they are. But they do have an opportunity to do some of that throughout the course of the time here, so that when they get into 5th grade, it's not a new process for them to be doing some of these long-term projects. And then our specialists, this is why our spoken sequence is such a great document, our specialists try to collaborate with our classroom teachers or other specialists so that their projects or the things that they're doing in their classes can overlap as well. So our art teacher did a mosaic lesson a couple of years ago, which she joined with Ray, and they did French monuments across the world in mosaic. So they learned a lot about different countries where French is spoken, and different monuments that are in those countries, and then they built them using mosaics. So we do try to cross-curricular that as much as we possibly can.
Another example of did a project with the 8th graders that the 8th grade students wrote stories in French. Then they went down to art on Sunday and created illustrated picture books for the younger students, and then the 8th graders took their 3rd grade friends across to the common and they read them the books in French. It was a really neat way to combine not both only French and art, but then also the community service aspect to work with the younger kids. I can think of 1,000 examples of that. The teachers really love trying to figure out how they can dovetail their programs together.
Okay, and we lost the
Fare pretty well on these standards.
So our students, because we are a public school, our students do have to take the MCAS assessment, and we consistently outperform our districts on those assessments. So we do not teach to the test. We use more of our math data and our annual testing data to determine whether or not students, there's areas that students need to work on. Our teachers do not take release MCAS items and then deliver them to students. But our curriculum is aligned to the Mass State standards. So we do use MCAS to determine whether or not we can strengthen the curriculum. And how that works in the classroom. I will be completely honest, it's a lot easier K to 4 than it tends to be 5th through 8th grade. We have opportunities in kindergarten through 2nd grade to sign up for a program called Mystery Reader. So depending on which teacher your student has, they may be wearing a disguise before you come into the classroom, but you typically don't tell your student, and you come in and you bring your own books and read to the students. They do math centers and reading centers where they're often looking for opportunities for parents to participate in those centers. Our 4th grade science teacher does a very large sound and vision unit, and she breaks it up into 20 different stations. So a lot of times we do have a very strong science parent basis, a lot of parents who work in the science and technology fields. So we have one parent who's a professor we have a professor in their science department, so in their physics department. So parents come in and help run those stations for the students. She trains the parents on what that station is, on what the students are doing, and parents come in and run those. We have a Skype a Scientist program where sometimes a parent has signed up for that, and we Skype with them and talk about what they do in their field and how they got into it, what it is like to be a scientist. We have parents that come in and talk about their culture. We have a couple of parents who come in every year and do a Rosh Hashanah unit with the students that their children are in the class with. We have students come in and talk about Passover, Chinese New Year, Diwali. lot of parents had a trip to China, came in and did a presentation on their trip with the students to talk about what that was like. So really, any ways that we can involve parents. In our older grades, it's typically more of that because there's not as much teaching work done for them to come in. But we do encourage them to come in and share their views.
So how is the school different than the public schools that are right now?
We kind of call our parent involvement here, and really, when you look at the children that go to school here, they're all here because their parents made a choice to send them here. So we kind of behind the scenes really call that our secret sauce, is that we're all a group of parents that have made kind of a different choice in our children's education. So by nature, we're that much more involved that we were looking for something that was a little different. So the parents as primary educator really is that first piece of the secret sauce. And then the character education, of course, just produces a child that is a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more self-aware. I have a son in 8th grade this year and an older son who graduated from here. And I cannot say enough about the strong sense of justice that they have, the strong code of ethics that they have for themselves and for others around them. I really think that it is an uncommon aspect of education that we provide here to not only value their academics, but really value who they are as individuals in a way that I don't think we find anywhere else. The community service that we do with the kids, it is our hope that they have such a varied community service experience that it really becomes a fiber of who they are. And we're looking for good service habits for life. And then the rigorous academic education, it is the exposure that these children have to literature and French and Latin. All the things that we do here is really the total picture. So you can't really say that it's one thing. It is really the way that these 4 pillars are interwoven. And I think that the 2 young ladies that were here are just an example. We could pluck any number of our students and they would be able to speak to you as eloquently and as passionately about their education. Quite a number of them are at Franklin High today doing open house. Usually I'm able to get more students to come and help. But I treasure that anytime I ask students to come and talk about this school, they're not annoyed by it. They are thrilled to come and represent the school. And the ladies that asked me, can we come work at the new school? And can we help you unpack boxes? And I said, how we can help you unpack boxes? There's probably some safety things in there, but you can give tours. And when I ask these students for their time, they are honored by the ask, and they want to come and be here. My older son came the other day. He came for his younger brother's presentation, and he was so excited. I don't think children are generally yearning to go back to their middle school, and he was so happy to be here. So it's a lot of things.
Joanne mentioned service being part of who they are and part of their fiber. We, last year, started calling alumni back to speak at our capstone presentations about how they continue community service after they left here. And last year we had 2 gentlemen join us. They both were elected to the Franklin Town Council last year and talked about how they continued their community service projects. One of them still does it every year. He started a bike recycling program and he still does it every year. But not only do they talk about the service to others, but they are also serving as councilmen on our town council, and that started from the community service aspect of the school here and how important they called us for that. We have somebody come back this year, an alumni who is a district attorney right now. And she talked about the service that she continued to do after she left high school.
So the school is going from the grade to 4th grade to 8th. So are they really planning to hire in the high school area?
So at this time, no. The school always was scheduled as a K-8 school. They applied for a charter as a K-8 school. They started K-4, so they could start to build sort of that community and that culture as the students moved through 8th grade until we had a fully enrolled K-8. But at this time, there are no plans to have this.
With bringing in so many new teachers, how are you going to plan to kind of monitor those teachers, make sure they're up to your standards?
we do have 40 new staff members that are not all classroom teachers, but we do have a large number of classroom teachers that we will be hiring. And again, we started that process about 6 years ago with using our current faculty and staff to define what it is to be a teacher at BFCCPS. So we have this model that we're looking for through our interview process. But also, it's important for us to be able to support them after we choose them, after we hire them. It's important for us to be able to support them through their first 4 or 5 years of teaching. So we have a pretty prescriptive induction and mentoring program that we are actually hiring. We actually have a position that their only job is to mentor new teachers so that they can support them pedagogically and make sure that they have what they need to be able to teach effectively in the classroom. And then they'll be assigned a BFCCPS current staff member as a cultural mentor so that they can help them to navigate our culture and make sure that we have a very prescriptive way that we do parent-teacher report card comments. So they'll help them work through that process. We have parent-teacher conferences, and we have their cultural mentor will help them with those sort of processes that are unique to BFCCPS. And then we'll have a teacher mentor that will work with them to strengthen their pedagogical skills and help to support them in the classroom that way. And that's a 4 or 5 year program that will follow them, depending on how many years of teaching they have prior to that, that will follow them to make sure that they're successful. Sure. So we usually have 2 focuses, a social and emotional focus and a pedagogical focus. So our social and emotional focus over the last couple of years has been on anxiety and attention deficit disorder. There's a lot of pushing around educating students who have anxiety, recognizing what that looks like, and then also working with students who have attention deficit disorder or may just be active in the classroom and how do we work with that. And then our pedagogical focus over the last 2 years has been to implement our response to intervention program, which is really meeting the needs, differentiating instruction, and meeting the needs of all students within your classroom, both academically, socially, and Sorry, I'm catching some of your similar.
Is there a cell phone policy?
Is there a cell phone policy for teachers or students? For students, yes. So our policy right now is that they do not have their cell phones on them. They can bring them to school, they stay in their backpacks. So they have them for the ride in and for the ride home. And they can't use them for the school. We do have a 1-to-1 Chromebook ratio for students in 3rd through 8th grade. So they do have, they have the ability to take pictures, they have the ability to work on assignments, they have the ability to do anything that they need to do with that Chromebook. But their cell phones, we do not have a policy where they can utilize their cell phones in class right now.
Thank you.
I will be around for a couple more minutes if anybody has any individual questions. I really appreciate